you assume zero appreciation of that, which what I'm assuming is that's going to be the best part of joining them. Is that? Well, hopefully.
And that was something you mentioned about the 10% piece.
Yeah.
They mentioned that you could also sell 15% of the remaining 30.
Yeah.
At whatever they recap or IPO at that value.
Yeah.
So in some ways, you got 25% of that.
Right. That's true.
Now that the original 10% is on their business. So if their business grows, that's growing with that.
Yeah.
The 15% is just on the growth of your business.
Right.
But you still get the multiple of their business. And so the intervening growth rate may not be the same, but the multiple at the end is still the same. And so you can sort of look at it in terms of multiple expansion as 25% of what you're selling is with the holdco company as opposed to just 10%.
Right. That's true. I guess it does depend on what my EBITDA is. Although if I start off at a 7.25, it's different than like people that bought in at like, they got bought out at a 5, right? Because there's more room for growth of the if they sell at 25. If they just recap once, if I sold at a 7.25 and they say they recap and they sell at a 13. Now the difference between that and my stock going from 1 to like 3 or 4 is different. Meaning they expect when I bought my stock at $1, I think $1.70, they anticipate they're going to sell the stock at $4. I don't know. It just seems like the growth on that is a little bit more. I think it's a little.
It ends up being the same because both pieces are being valued at 7.5x EBITDA.
Okay.
So everything is being valued at the same. So the 30% or 15,
yeah,
and the 10%, everything is valued at the same amount.
Okay.
It's just between now and whenever the recap happens, the growth will be different of your practice versus their entire business. Right? Your practice is just a piece of their business.
Yeah.
But in terms of the benefit or the multiple or whatever, that's going to be the same. The only difference is the base. And the base will be, if they grow their business faster than you grow their business, you'd rather have more of the 10% piece.
Right.
But if you grow your business faster than they grow theirs, you'd rather have your 15% piece than the 10% piece.
I guess that's why I want their piece because
right, which is fair. So yes, I agree why you want more, but you're still getting sort of. The growth rates aren't going to be that different if they're going to recap in a year and a half, right? Like they're not going to grow. Like if it was 6 or 7 years from now, it's like okay, that could be a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
But if they're going to recap in a year and a half, it's different, but it's not that different. So you're still getting sort of the benefit of that multiple expansion on 25% of your business as opposed to 0 or 10% on your kind of current worldview of it.
Okay, that's good to understand. Yeah, that makes sense.
But Jeff, when do you think they would recap? So to Matt Zenz's point, if it is a longer period of time, if it is an extra, maybe it is in 5 years, their value will be higher, which would be good for you because now that part of your equity is going to grow more over a longer period of time, likely.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to recap sooner than later because it sounds like they're probably going to do it in the next. I know they just did it, but it sounds like there's rumblings. I guess that they're meeting with groups that do take companies public, which I don't understand at all, which I'm sure you guys do. But it sounds like it's going to happen. It's going to happen probably in the next 12 months, 12 to 15 months or something like that. So soon, definitely sooner. So I guess that makes it a moot point for me.
Well, it could be.
But they won't negotiate it anyway. They're like that's the most expensive part of like for them. I guess it's really expensive to give away the stock, is what they explained to me. So
they're giving it to you at a 15% discount, right? So if they last valued the business at 13.5, and they're giving you shares at 7.5, that means that you're getting a 50% discount to buy their company.
I think I'm getting it like the stock. I think originally they recapped was $1 a share, and I'm getting it for $1.70 a share. So maybe that made it.
So they said in 2021.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, they recapped at $3.50 a share.
At $3.50 a share.
That was in the PDF that we got.
Okay.
And they expect it to be at 4 in a year from now or 2 years from now when they do it again. Or 3 years from whatever it is, 2024.
Yeah.
But the last time they recapped, which was less than a year ago, it was at $3.50 a share.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, and if I'm getting it at $1.70, I got you. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, that should be in the footnotes there at.
That's right down here.
Fourth footnote. The exit share price in 2021 was $3.50.
Okay, so they're giving.
So that's why it's so expensive to them. Why they don't want to give more is because they're giving you a 50% discount to buy this.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
But I think something for us to go through while we have this is, hey, what is that number? Like, this is the biggest lever that would impact your economics, Jeff, right? Yeah. If that number is, I mean, we could plug anything in here just by doubling it, right? That's going to change the outcome here.
Yeah.
You know, this is the power of kind of the interactive process we can go through while you're on here. It's like, hey, what's your biggest fear, and what's the biggest upside? We can start to give you a range of outcomes, because ideally that's what we want to do, is give you a range of outcomes, saying, okay, this is not as good as I thought, or it's much better than I thought.
Right. So yeah, I mean, in my mind, I thought it would. I mean, what would happen if it went IPO? Like, if it went from where they're saying if it goes IPO, they're talking about a 25 to 30 times valuation, right?
That would be 4x.
Yeah.
So you basically you'd have to multiply that by 3, basically. So the appreciation would be 1.5 million, or whatever. Yeah.
But that's the IPO price.
Correct.
Right. So that's that's assuming you sit on cash with all of this, right? There's a time value of money that completely changes this, right? If that's what we're here to help with, is say, hey, it's one thing to sit on cash for 12 years, but if you invest that, it's a different story, right? It's a much different impact for you. But let's first start with pure cash, which is the current allocation, and an IPO price at $1.6 million.
And one piece we're not capturing here is, if you scroll down a little bit, DJ, if this does IPO and you can sell your retained equity, that first one, you can, that number becomes way higher, right? So you can sell your practice at a 25. You can sell 15% of your practice at a 25x.
Right.
As well, right? You're currently selling it at 7x, 7.5. If this IPOs, you can sell 15% of your practice at 25x.
Right.
So that multiplies by 4 too.
So you're taking 1.6 times 4?
I think that should be the retained equity. I think should be about 800,000, because I think the retained equity, like, split between what I can sell and what I can't sell, was about 1.6 million. I think in that.
Oh yeah. So what this is assuming, that the reason why it's 1.6 is we took it from the spreadsheet, which is assuming they recap at 14. So you'd only actually double this. If you went to IPO, you would just double that. So that would become 3.2, which is the 800 times 4.
Does that make sense?
So how did you get to 1.6?
Oh, sorry. So you're right. You said 800, which is right. But what we were assuming there is that they recapped at 14x EBITDA, or whatever it is. They didn't IPO, they just recapped. And that's where you get the 1.6 from. So if they IPO'd, then that would double again, right? You get 25x, which is roughly double 14.
Yeah.
So the IPO number would change that 1.6 to like 3 million.
Okay.
But these are all things we can time with, right? So if they don't recap, if they recap at 14x, if they IPO at 25x, these are all scenarios we can plug in pretty quickly and easily change, and you can see sort of the impact on your net worth when that happens.
Right. Yeah, so I know financially it obviously makes sense to go this route because of all this upside here. I guess the concern is that trying to retain, in endo, it's weird as far as, like, I guess over the past 5 years I've been pretty stable, but with some of my referrals kind of falling off, my office manager told me yesterday that she has to go in for surgery on December 29th, so she's going to be out the whole month of January. trying to retain, like the whole thing about like trying to retain what I've been doing. I know it sounds stupid because I've been doing it for 5 years, and like of course they want to buy a business that's going to continue to grow. And here I am saying I don't know if I can even sustain what I'm doing. They don't want to buy that business, I'm sure. But I'm just looking at my side, like what's the worst case scenario? Like if for some reason I go down, $20,000 a month, which is not that hard to do because it's just so fluctuant on my referral sources. The top line revenue would go from $1.9 million to $1.8 million pretty easily, and $100,000 off of the top would be like $100,000 of EBITDA, really, right? I mean, it would be pretty close to it would be a lot of EBITDA. Because if you look at the clawback, I mean, as soon as I go down from like 740 down to like 690, whatever it is, I mean, they can claw back like half that equity, and they're saying they would never do that. They've never done it before, but it's in there for a reason. And I don't want to. It's a big risk. I get why they do it. I understand. I fully understand. They're investing a lot of money, and they don't want me to. They call it a Cabo clause. They don't want me going off and doing anything. I mean, I'm going to work my ass off, but there's certain things I can't control, and I just don't know if I can undergo the stress of like trying to do all this shit while like my office manager's out. This guy just retired. I don't know. It's just I'm going to have to do it if I'm on my own anyway. But at least if like the ship is sinking, I'm sinking alone. I don't have to answer to anybody. I don't know. So that's what I'm really grappling with, to be honest with you. Because I know, I mean, I haven't run the numbers like this. This is pretty impressive. But as far as like what does that mean? The clawback thing really threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting it because originally they were talking about a holdback, and then we said they're not going to do the holdback. And then I saw that and I said, well, this is a holdback. I mean, it's just a different name for a holdback. So I don't know. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that. It's freaking me out big time, and there's no way around it, really.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. So looking at their kind of table of it, you could lose up to like 8% of the 30% equity that you are retaining.
That table keeps going. That goes in infinitum. It goes down to zero.
Oh, it does. It just keeps going down. Okay, so yes, if you keep going down, then they keep taking more.
Yeah.
PJ and I were kind of talking about this before. This is unfortunately, and you probably know this, is just sort of standard in all these types of deals. So it's not like going with a different PE firm or other DSO or any other person is going to this is going to go away, right? Because they have their downside risk they want to prevent, and so the only other option is, I guess, to not sell and just keep it yourself, and then you're taking all the risk. But yeah, I think that's something that you have to kind of figure out. I think it might be helpful to call them or ask them for testimonials. I have to imagine with like COVID, some of the businesses they bought, you mentioned that your business is sort of COVID proof in the sense that people still have to come in, but there's got to be people who had these types of things happen to their businesses and getting an understanding of like, how did MB2 react? Did they say, yeah, you fell below, but there's a good reason for it, and we'll give you another 12 months to kind of figure things out and we won't take any more equity? Or like just kind of getting testimonials of like how that stuff has worked out for the people might ease some of your concerns on that front.
Right.
Also, I imagine MB2 wants you to grow just like you want to grow, so they're going to be helping with marketing, helping with referrals, and hopefully that mitigates the downside risk. But
right.
Yeah. I mean, you know your business better than we do, and so understanding the likelihood of that happening, you know better than we do.
Right. And I guess on the flip side of it is if it goes to zero, I mean, if it does go down, they claw back the equity. At least I got some cash up front, right? And
that's the thing. Like you're bearing 100% of it right now if it goes down.
Yeah.
Now, if it goes down in that 15-month period, that becomes very expensive because you can't get that back. Whereas if you had a bad year, you can get it back the next year. You own it yourself. But yeah. I mean, ultimately, they want you to have equity in the business. So the reason why they don't haven't clawed it back in the past is because they don't want you to become an employee. They want you to still have skin in the game and continue to push to grow it. So they really don't want to take this equity unless they really have to, right? So if they find out that you've been sailing your boat every day and just like went down just Mondays working instead of 3 days a week, they're going to be like, okay, this guy is not in it. Or we're going to claw back the equity, at least get something. Right. But if you had somebody get sick and you lost something, or like something bad in your business and they know that's not a permanent thing, they don't want to take away all your upside and skin in the game in this business. So they're going to say, okay, we're not going to do that, but like we'll give you another 12 months to kind of figure things out.
Right.
I think looking at it from their perspective, like clawing back an extra 5% equity or something like that is just like not worth worth the bad blood and the lack of motivation you might have in the future.
Okay, that's good to understand.
Hey, Jeff, one other perspective. So I'm a partner in our firm. There are 4 owners, right? And we are partially owned by a private equity firm.
Okay.
And so we thought the exact same. We went through the same process, right? And if we felt that we were going into a period of time where we were going to lose some revenue, whether it was market related or losing a couple big clients, it starts with a conversation. It's like, hey, just want to give you a heads up. We've got one of our staff may be leaving, and we may have a dip in our overall revenue. We're not worried about it. We've got here are the pros, here are the cons. It starts with a conversation, not like, okay, that's mine. It is a, and I can't speak to MB2, but it's a partnership, because if we have a bad experience, we would taint the experience, we would taint the pool that other firms are playing in with the same private equity firm, right? They don't want a person that's upset kind of telling people how the experience wasn't good. So I think there are pros and cons to it, but I think when you read it, it is scary. If you think about it from a business perspective and their interest in you, you may look at it at a different light. But ideally, what you want to understand is, hey, what's my best case? And what happens if things really hit the fan, right? And that way you're like, okay, here are my range of outcomes. Ideally, I want to keep that range tighter and tighter, and I can use these resources to grow my business. I mean, this assumes zero growth in EBITDA or profitability. And we can pull this away so there's zero appreciation in the stock, and there's zero equity in the tail end.
Yeah.
Right? And this is what it looks like, right? And this is in 12 years, sitting in cash. If you start looking at how you run your other, how you run your cash flow and how you run kind of your, how you think about investing, it's not going to sit in cash. It's going to grow, right? And as young as you are, and if you want to work longer, you can take a, more aggressive approach on how you want to invest that cash. And so that, hey, this is what I could do with the proceeds of the sale based upon all these different kind of outcomes.
Right.
And then I think the last piece is the retirement spending, right? So one question you had was, can I retire at 55 or 60? Well, we can toggle a presumed monthly spend in retirement and show you, you've got a 25% chance of running out of money if you retire at 55, so you should probably wait till 56 or whatever it is.
Yeah, so this is just, you're young, right? You've got other assets. We're just looking at this piece of your overall net worth, right? And if you invest it in a moderate allocation and you want to spend $20,000 a month in retirement, at 60, it goes up and then it starts going down, right? Now you're drawing down on that money.
Yeah.
And we can, understanding, well, I'm going to spend more than that. Well, how much do you want to spend, right? And then you're looking at, well, there's a possible option of me running out of money in my 90s if I spend $30,000 a month. So what we want to do is we want to help draw some clarity to not just this part of it, but what does a sale look like when Jeff and his wife are 83?
Right.
And you've got other assets. So it's looking at the piece from a pure cash standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
From a worst case, this is taking out the equity we just went through.
Well, that's that second part of equity, that 15% that I don't understand how you even sell that. There is 15% of equity that's going to be, I guess.
So what they assume is that you sell to another doctor.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not realistic, but some young gun who doesn't have a practice is like, when you're 55 and he's coming out of school at 35, and you're like, hey, I've got a business, you get 15% equity in it, and you've got a standard set of clients or whatever, and they can buy the practice from you.
Right. I mean, in today's world, nobody would do that. Maybe 10 years from now, they would, because who wants to buy 15% of a practice and still be like a minority owner?
The benefits to them would be they get your salary, right? So they start making whatever it is, $700K a year, and then they get 15% of the business, which maybe isn't much. They want more upside, but that's in the price, right? So maybe they just don't buy it for as much money. So so to your point, maybe it's worth a little bit less, but that's all sort of in the price.
Exactly.
And then there's another part of this where you get these big dips, right? Where you've got a big tax bill. This is assuming you don't shelter or have a tax planning strategy at all, right? You're going to have a plan here, right? You're going to have a way to offset taxes, whether it's, we do a lot of donor advice funds as a way to use a vehicle to kind of offset long-term cap gains. So again, I think you're looking at one scenario here, but you can run 100 different options based upon what is going through your mind. Because ideally, Jeff, at the end of the day, you want to feel really good about this. You don't want to have to wake up like, oh God, am I doing the right thing? Right? Is this right? Is this the best thing for my family? And that's using more than just a spreadsheet or whatever you're using, and using kind of a little bit different software to do the same analysis.
Right.
But here's our next step. Okay.
Yeah.
This is an intro. This is like a discovery meeting on, hey, what makes Jeff tick? What does he want to do? He's got another business he likes. He's got other real estate. I don't know what your time frame is, but this was we would do one more meeting with you to get a little bit more clarity for you on making a decision.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
What we do this for all of our clients, right? We do it on an annual basis based upon what they want to spend, their other assets like your 401k, your Roth. We do 529. We're a comprehensive planner, and the only way that we get paid is based upon from our clients, right? So our highest fee is 85 basis points, or a little bit less than 1% on the asset that we advise on, but includes all of this, right? But ideally, this is a tool for you to get more confidence in what you want to do, whether you sell or you stay put. And Matt and I are willing to jump on another call so you can give some more thought on how you want to toggle some of these. Like if I can grow my practice a little bit, and I do see some appreciation, and I maybe want to work a little bit less, right? And I'm assuming zero equity out of this.
Right.
What does that look like for me? Right. So all these things, you'll see all these numbers change.
Yeah, that changes a lot, huh?
Well, the big number is how long you want to work.
Yeah.
Right. That's it, man. I mean, you could do this. I'm gonna stop sharing here for a second. We work with a lot of doctors and dentists that think they're in great shape. Now they're older than you. Their practice may be worth less or more than yours, but they don't do the second half of the plan. They think that they can retire at 55 because they're going to have $9 million, but we have expensive lifestyles, right? And you make a bad investment in a real estate deal or something goes bad, plugging all of that info into a technology that draws some range of outcomes.
Yeah.
Ideally, we're just trying to give our clients a peace of mind, and that's kind of why we're highlighting this for you, because you got a good opportunity to make a decision whether you want to stay the path or you want to partner with MB2. And like I said, we don't have a dog in the fight. Our opportunity is like, hey, people just like you. Let's kind of highlight our team, our services, and let you make a decision.
Right. Of your clients, how many people end up staying the course, and how many people end up going with a PE company?
We've seen more sales than not.
Really? People my age or older? I mean, I understand if I was like 5 years from retirement, it's a no-brainer. Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's not, because they gotta, they aren't maybe in a great financial situation that they may need to work longer, but they don't want to deal with all the issues.
Yeah.
But the data that we read with other doctors is that the trend is younger. It's not aging. Like the trend's not getting older as they sell. They're selling sooner than they did 3, 5, 7 years ago. So every situation is unique and different because you get 2 kids, you have a wife, you're in your own kind of world. You get other sort of goals that you may have. So it's trying to craft and customize a plan for each client based upon like the emotional attachment, but also like the financial attachment that you may have.
Yeah.
What's your time frame? When do you need to make a decision?
I got a little bit of time because they want to close December 31st before Biden changes the cap gain taxes. I'd rather close before the end of the year, so they're pushing to do that. I still haven't gotten the legal docs yet. I don't know why it's taken them so long. I signed the LOI 2 weeks ago. I mean, should the legal docs be pretty much the same for anyway? So I haven't gotten the legal docs to get over to Brett, and I guess I have a meeting every week with them on the integration part where they're doing their due diligence and still kind of feeling things out. So they want to come out here and talk to my staff in like December 6th, which I think is like 3 weeks before we close. And obviously I haven't told anybody because I'm not going forward. I don't want anybody to know. So I basically have pretty much the month of November to figure it out. I don't want to like spend a lot of money and time going down this path if I'm not going to do it. And I don't want to like upset anybody there, but I'm sure they have people that go through this process and walk away. So I wouldn't be the first, but I don't want to be that guy. If I'm going to do it, I'd rather kind of do it early so I don't waste their time either. But I mean, I guess I'd have to look at that projection compared to just staying the course. I know if I just did it the way I was doing it, I think if I did $1.5 million times 5 years. I mean, if you did it over 5 years, I guess your projection's up to retirement compared to over 5 years. Yeah, it's tough, man.
We assume zero growth. We assume everything stays the same in terms of your revenue and your practice.
Yeah.
Right. So that's as Matt and I talked about, there were 3 big kind of levers. One is the holdco stock, right? The value of that.
Yeah.
That's a big element.
Yeah.
The first tranche of your retained equity is number 2.
Yeah.
And then, third is kind of that second tranche. Is there real value there? And per kind of the docs, the plan would be to sell it to someone as you bow out, someone else comes in and buys it.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 big ones. And then, hey, can you grow the practice or you just kind of like stay as is, or do you actually kind of, use the resources and maybe grow the business?
Right. Do you have other clients that have gone with MB2? I mean, I guess GP, it's easier to maintain. Like if you're a general dentist, it's easier to maintain and say, hey, listen, I keep working. I got the patients. They're coming in. I'm doing this. With endo, I'm literally referral based. So every day, like, I mean, if the phone doesn't ring, I'm not making any money. Like if somebody for some reason they call a different referral or some new guy moves in, it's just so hard to project exactly what my business is going to be 12 months from now because I don't have any patients. Like the phone has to ring or there's zero revenue. So I think they're used to buying general dental practices where it's like, hey, this is the Cabo clause. If you leave, you're not going to make any money, so we're going to claw back. But with me, I could be working my ass off, like going out there and still, for some reason, not bringing in the revenue, and I'm getting hit for it. So that's what it's a little different. I'm not sure if they're used to like the specialist versus the GP model because I know they were always GP before. So I don't know. That's the one thing that's really hanging me up. I mean, as you can see, it's all like I keep coming back to that. That's where my head is.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I'd ask them for any kind of endo referrals if they had worked with them before.
Yeah.
I mean, the other piece is that if you feel like a lot of your COIs are dissipating, or you think that might go down, then you're taking 100% of that risk right now.
Yeah.
And so if that continues, that you're going to assume all of that risk as opposed to you get some of the money off the table.
Yeah.
Which is helpful. And again, this clawback I think is only 15 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I have to go out and beg people for 12 months to refer their patients to.
Right. It's one of those things where it's like if you want to put more into marketing, it's not like this is a 5-year clawback.
Right.
You know, it's a personal question. You know your business better than we do, obviously, and if you think personal marketing will help or what have you, but it's a 15-month time frame.
Right. So when you guys look at this, obviously, you don't know my business, I know better, but from your perspective, and you're talking to a client, do you think if I was your brother or whatever, would you say, look, this is a really good opportunity? It'd be stupid for you to walk away from this. I mean, the upside is way better than the downside. The downside's this. I mean, if you keep doing what you're doing, you have own 100% of the risk and the equity. What would you? I mean, listen. I know that you can't 100% say what would your recommendation be to somebody in my position. I mean, do you think it's worth going this direction, or do you think is it riskier to not go in this direction? If I walked away, is it like, whoa, you're really making a really stupid move?
So I'll speak from an owner's standpoint that's partnered with a firm.
Uh-huh.
It's great to be able to take chips off the table,
mm-hmm.
right? Take some risk off the table and get some opportunity for some big upside, right? That feels good. You also look at your business in a different way, which is not always a bad thing. You're like, okay, here's my goal. My goals have changed, right? My goal is I look at the next 15 months. I think about other ways I can tweak the business. That is there's a reason why more and more people are going that route, is because they want to monetize some of their business, take some of the risk off the table. You still have some upside, but there's it's hard to say, hey, here's what you should do, because we're seeing a very small piece of your world.
Yeah.
Right? You got other things going on. You got this other practice you like. So, just from an owner's perspective, taking chips off the table and getting still upside with a company that's growing, you got to make that decision yourself.
Right.
We're coming up on the hour. We have to jump to another meeting, but let's do this. We can do one of two things. One is leave the ball in your court. You can reach out to us if you want to schedule another meeting, or we can book another meeting here now at some point in the next few weeks to give yourself some time to think about it, and we can come back to our software to give you a better kind of higher range of outcomes, so you know what that could look like for you.
Yeah, I mean, that would be helpful. It'd probably give me a little bit more time to run through this and figure things out with them. But whatever works for you guys. If you want to put something on the books,
yeah. Let me share my calendar here. So we do everything via Calendly. So the week of the 15th.
I could probably do that Friday.
These are all central. Let me turn this to Pacific.
Let's do the 8 a.m. bright and early, just like today.
Okay. All right. I'll put this on the calendar.
Okay. Cool.
Right. And listen, we're here, like I said, just as an added resource. But let's, if you got some questions, let us know. And I think at the end of the day, you got options, right? You got really good options. You have to think about kind of what's best for you. But we would encourage you not just look at the next 5 to 7 years, but this is going to be a long-term play for you. This is the next, if you're 48, I'm 44, so I think about the next 50 years, right?
Right.
I know it's crazy to think about, and we talk about taking a long view, but we really, really mean it.
Right.
So
you guys, from your standpoint, like what you do, your firm, if somebody, I mean, the reason you're doing this is obviously if you became a client, then you would help take the money and that you take off the table and invest it in something that you think would help grow over the next 30, 40 years. So you're an investment firm. You invest in equities and whatever, stocks and bonds, and right? Is that kind of what I'm getting?
Yes, we have. So kind of what we do is, one is we build a plan, right? So it's like, hey, how do we address the taxes? How do we address this long-term plan? How much risk do you need to take in the market in order for these assets to grow over a long period of time? Mm-hmm. Right? We do all the coordination with the CPA and the estate planning attorney. We do a lot for our clients, not just early on, but for the rest of kind of their planning horizon. We are purely independent, so we're not owned by a bank or a brokerage firm. We invest the same way all of our clients do, so you would own the same stuff that we do. What I'll do is I'll mail you. Our co-founder wrote a book about kind of our approach. I'll send you a podcast on kind of how you can learn more about us. But this is our chance to kind of like highlight how we have worked with more and more folks like yourself, and it's up to you to say, hey, I'd like to learn more about these guys or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sounds good.
So, it's a way for us to, these are fun types of conversations that we have. Like Zen and I were on the call last night talking about this, and these are things that we like to do because it's fun using kind of our approach and the technology to come give people a better peace of mind so they know they're making the right decision.
Right. Yeah. Well, I appreciate the time, guys, and I don't want to waste any more. You get another call, so thanks for taking the time. I guess we'll speak again in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that sounds good, Jeff.
All right.
And we'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, man. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Yeah.